Alright, so today we're going to be turning deer apples into apple butter. So, got them in my sink. I'm going to get them all good and rinsed off. And then we're going to start peeling them and cutting them up. So, my aunt actually gave me a jar of her caramel apple butter. I'd never had the caramel before, and oh my gosh, it was so good. So I had to get a recipe. We're going to make that today. Alright, let's sharpen my knife up real quick, and then I'll show you how to peel these and cut these up. So, what I like to do is just cut the bottoms and the tops off first. Now I'm just going to take my knife and run around in a circle, a little bit of a spiral all the way down. Now, these are deer apples, so I'm gonna have a few little bad spots and bruises to cut out, but for $8.50 for, I don't know, that's probably 40 or 50 pounds of apples. Pretty dang good. And these apples are really, I can't believe they're deer apples. So I got these at the local Ace Hardware. They sell apples and corn. So I'm gonna cut these pretty thin. Just slice them pretty thin. That way they'll cook down pretty quick, because we want them to cook down, and we're gonna cook them until they pretty much turn into a thin paste. And that way it'll spread out on your butter. So I'm gonna just keep doing this, keep cutting them and peeling them, and get them ready to put in the crock pot. I'm gonna put them in this bowl to start with, because I'm gonna put a liner in my crock pot, and it's gonna be kind of hard to mix in my sugar and my cinnamon and ginger. So, and I'm gonna cut these up probably about 17 or 18 cups of sliced apples. So it'll take me a few minutes, but all right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of, as I'm cutting these, I'm gonna slice them into this pint jar. And a pint jar is 2 cups. You could do a quart jar, that's 4 cups. And then I'm just gonna keep a track on how many cups I have, so I know the amount of sugar and ginger to add. So I'm gonna probably get around 17 or 18 cups out of these apples right here. And that should be enough to fill up my crock. So. And if you haven't made apple butter before, or even tried it, it's one of my absolute favorite things. There's no jelly or anything to me that can even come close to apple butter. So, I've never made the caramel before, but man, let me tell you, it was good. I love regular apple butter, but that was amazing. So I'm hoping this turns out as good as hers did. So there's my pint jar full. So there's 2 cups right there. I'm just gonna keep on going until I get all these cut up and get around 17 or 18 cups of sliced apples. So. And you don't want your peelings to go in your bowl. And you can see there's the bruise spots. And I'm just gonna take a little thin slice out of there and get those out, just to make sure we don't have any bad flavor in our apple butter. We can't have that. So. All right, and there's 4 cups. I'm just gonna keep on going. All right, now we've got our 6 cups. So, a little more. All right, there's 8 cups, so we're about halfway there. All right, now we've got 10 cups. Oops. And that makes 12. And there's 14. Alright, and there's 16. So I missed the cup a couple times and probably packed it a little fuller than it actually should be to get your exact measurement. So I'm gonna say I got about 16, well 17 or 18 cups in here. So that's about all I can fit in that bowl. So we're gonna go with that. And now we're gonna add our sugar and spice. Alright, now we're gonna add our sugar and spices to our apples and get them mixed up. So this is about 1.25 cups of brown sugar. And a little bit on the generous side, just to make sure it's good and sweet. Now, you probably need a little bit bigger bowl. I assume this would probably be big enough, but it looks like I was a little bit off. So, mix that a little. And then now I have 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and about 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. I'll add about half of that. Mix it up a little bit. Alright, and now we've got about 2 teaspoons, well 3 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So you get that good mixed up. Already smells awesome. So your caramels, you're gonna cook this in your crock pot for about 5-6 hours until it's already kind of cooked down a little bit, and then you're going to melt your caramels and put in. So we're not going to add our caramels right now. Good. Add the rest of the cinnamon and nutmeg. I'm sorry, not nutmeg, but ginger. I really don't like nutmeg. You can, if you like nutmeg and like a nutmeggy flavor, you can put that in, a little bit of that, probably 1/4 teaspoon. But I just really am not a big fan of nutmeg. So, and you can put cloves in this, but I really personally do not like cloves and nutmeg. So we're gonna stick with the basics of cinnamon and a little bit of ginger. So, you don't have to get it too well mixed up, just kind of get it mixed up pretty decent. We're gonna put it in our crock pot and let it cook down. Alright, and that's probably pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and get the crock pot out. We're gonna put it in there and get it cooking. Alright, so I've got the crock pot out. I've got my liner in. And I'll tell you, these things are straight from heaven. It's nothing worse than trying to clean a crock pot out. That is for sure. So we're gonna get these added in. I'm gonna put this, I'm gonna probably go ahead and put it on high for a little while, and we'll see how it goes. If it's cooking really fast, then I'm gonna cut it down to low. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and put it on high, and we're gonna get it cooking. Alright, so that didn't quite top off my crock pot here. So I went ahead and mixed up another half batch, maybe a third, but already good. So I'm gonna add that in there just because I want to do as much as I can at one time. Try to put as much in cans for the winter as I can. Well, it's already pretty much winter here, but and that pretty much, yeah, that's much better. I think that's got it topped off pretty good there. So we're gonna let it cook down. Stir it every once in a while and keep it cooking. A ton of peelings and cores, so I'm gonna take these and throw them out at the deer stand. Alright, so it's been about 2 hours. Just gonna stir this up a little bit and get the ones on top down in there, and as you can see, I don't have to add any water because it's making its own juice. So, and you want to cook all the water off you can so you get the nice thick apple butter that spreads out on your toast real nice. So got that all stirred up. I'll let it keep cooking. Alright, so it's been about 6 hours. I'm going to just take a whisk and see if I can break up some of these chunks and not have to put it in a blender. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to Steam makes it kind of hard, but I'm gonna leave the lid off for a little while, let it kind of cook out some of the water. But it's thickening up pretty good. I'm gonna just keep whisking it a little bit and try to break up the chunks and get it nice and creamy. Alright, so I've been whisking it for about 2 minutes. I think it did pretty good. I don't think there's any need to put it in the blender. You could if you wanted to, but I think that consistency looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and melt my caramels, and I'll let it cook for about another hour and a half, and then we're going to put it in the cans. So I'm going to go ahead and start the caramels melting. Alright, so we've got all our caramels out of the plastic. I'm going to use a whole bag, 13-ounce bag of Kraft caramels. And I'm going to put these in the microwave for about 20-second, 25-second intervals and get them melted down, and then just stir them every 20 or 30 seconds until they're all good and melted. Alright, I put it in there twice for 30 seconds, so it's been 60 seconds, and they're starting to kind of melt down, so I'm going to put them in there for another 20 seconds. Alright, we're getting there. A little bit longer. We'll have them all good and melted. So make sure we don't burn it. Alright, I think we're there. All the lumps are out. It's good and melted. So we're going to go ahead over here and add it into our apple butter. Alright, I'm going to be really careful when you do this, because this stuff will burn you really bad. And you don't want that to happen. So make sure you're careful, because if you get it on you, it's not going to come off. Might should have done it just a few more seconds longer, because it's wanting to stick to the bowl pretty good. So. Alright, so we got that in there. We're going to mix it up, and now we're going to let it cook for about another hour and a half, and then we're going to get our jars ready and put it in our jars. So, about another hour and a half. Alright, it's got it all mixed in and turning that real creamy caramel color. And man, does it smell good. Alright, it's looking pretty good. It's been about 2 more hours. And it's a little bit runny, not bad. And once it cools, it'll thicken up quite a bit. So we're going to go ahead and get our jars ready to put it in the cans. Alright, so we've got our jars in the oven. We've got it on 200 degrees, and we're going to let those get good and hot, kill anything that may be on them. But I've already washed them really good, so it's kind of a precautionary step. Alright, so now we've got our rings and our lids in the water. We're going to let them boil for just a couple minutes, kill any bacteria. Alright, so now we're going to go get our hot water bath ready. And you got to just kind of guesstimate enough water in there. You want to just cover the jars by about a half an inch or so. Get that boiling, and our lids are about ready, and our jar should be up to temperature. Alright, so we've got our jars hot and kill any bacteria, and we're going to take our canning funnel, got that good and clean, and now we're just going to fill our jars up. And once we get them full, we're going to put the lids on and put them in the bath. Alright, so we've got 4.5 pints. So I'm going to go ahead and be careful not to touch the bottom of the lids. Go ahead and get our lids on here. And I wiped down the rings to make sure we didn't have anything. I'm sorry, the jar lids. I wiped down the jar lids to make sure there was nothing on there that would prevent it from sealing. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rings on these, and I'm going to go ahead and get them in our water bath. So, and the one that's only half, I'm just going to go ahead and let it cool down a little bit and stick it in the refrigerator to eat on this week. So, alright, so I've got my water bath on medium high, just good slow boil. I'm going to go ahead and carefully place these in here. Alright, and that turned out right about perfect. I got about a ½ inch over the top of the jars, and I'm going to let that just kind of slow boil for about 10 minutes. And I'm going to get them out. Alright, it's been about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get these out of the water bath and let them cool off. We're going to try a little bit here in a few minutes. Alright, we got it all canned up and got it water bathed, and now it's good for quite a while. We're going to give it a try. That is so good. Just like my hands. So I hope you'll give it a try. It's pretty easy to make and it works. It's really good. And it'll last about a year in the jars. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll subscribe.